40 years. That is how long football has been waiting for this match. June 22nd, 1986. The Azteca. Diego Maradona rises with Peter Shilton and punches the ball into England's net with his left fist. 4 minutes later, he collects the ball inside his own half, spins away from 2 challenges, and runs through the entire England team to score what many still call the greatest goal in World Cup history. 2 goals, 4 minutes. One afternoon that turned a football rivalry into a national wound on both sides of the Atlantic. And now, 4 decades later, Argentina and England meet again. Not in a quarterfinal, not in a friendly. In a World Cup semi-final at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, with a place in the final on the line. The winner plays for everything football has to give. The loser goes home carrying 40 years of ghosts. But here is the detail almost nobody is talking about. Lionel Messi has played more than 200 matches for Argentina. He has faced Brazil, Germany, France, Spain, the Netherlands, every giant the sport can produce. He has never, not once in his entire career, played against England. The man who inherited Maradona's number 10, Maradona's burden, and Maradona's country will face Maradona's greatest rival for the first time in his life, in what is almost certainly his final World Cup. Football does not write scripts, except, apparently, when it decides that it must. To understand what this semi-final really is, you have to understand how both teams arrived here. Because neither of them walked. Both of them crawled through fire. Argentina cruised through their group with a perfect record. Algeria were beaten 3-0. Austria fell 2-0. Jordan were dispatched 3-1. The champions looked serene. Then the knockout rounds began, and serenity died. Against Cape Verde, Argentina needed extra time to survive a 3-2 thriller. Against Egypt, they were 2 goals down with 11 minutes remaining, staring at the most humiliating title defense in living memory, before Messi dragged them back from the dead with a goal and an assist in one of the great World Cup comebacks. And against Switzerland, they were level deep into the night until Julian Alvarez detonated a strike from 25 yards in extra time, and Lautaro Martinez buried the tie in stoppage time. 3 knockout matches, 3 near-death experiences, 3 resurrections. And this is where it gets strange, because the deeper Argentina sink into trouble, the more dangerous they become. This is a team that seems to require suffering the way other teams require possession. You cannot frighten them, because they have already survived everything a tournament can throw at a champion. At the center of it all stands a 39-year-old who refuses to obey time. Messi has scored 8 goals at this World Cup, leading the race for the Golden Boot. He is now the all-time top scorer in World Cup history with 21 goals, a record that stood beyond reach for generations until he simply walked past it. He no longer sprints. He no longer presses. He drifts. He watches. He waits. And then he decides matches in moments so brief that defenders describe them afterwards like accidents. When he steps onto the pitch in Atlanta, it will be his 206th appearance for Argentina, the first against England, possibly among the last of his international career. But England have their own story, and it is far stranger than the table suggests. They announced themselves by dismantling Croatia 4-2, then stumbled through a goalless draw with Ghana, a routine win over Panama, and a nervous 2-1 escape against DR Congo, rescued by a Harry Kane thunderbolt. And then the tournament asked England a question soaked in history. To reach the quarterfinals, they had to beat Mexico, at the Azteca, the stadium where the hand of God was born. England won 3-2, finishing the match with 10 men after a red card, holding on through wave after wave in the most hostile atmosphere of the tournament. Their best win on foreign soil in their history, in the one stadium where English football's deepest scar was carved. Then came Norway, Erling Haaland, and chaos. England fell behind to a rasping first-half strike from Andreas Schjelderup and looked rattled in the Miami heat. Then, in first-half stoppage time, a Norwegian goal kick struck the overhead camera cable, the ball dropped, England attacked, and Jude Bellingham equalized. Norway protested furiously. The goal stood. Fans immediately christened it the Cable of God, 40 years after the Hand of God. Norway had a goal disallowed. Bellingham poached the winner in extra time, and Thomas Tuchel walked out calling his own team's performance sloppy and the victory lucky. That honesty tells you who Tuchel is, but the numbers tell you who England are. Harry Kane has 6 goals at this tournament and has overtaken Gary Lineker to become England's all-time leading World Cup scorer. Bellingham has 4, including decisive goals in 3 consecutive knockout rounds. And buried inside that run is a statistic that should make Argentine supporters shiver. Before Bellingham, the last player to score 2 or more goals in consecutive World Cup knockout matches at a single tournament was Diego Maradona in 1986. The ghost of the Azteca is somehow present on both sides of this semi-final. Now look at the tactical collision, because this is where the match will actually be decided. Argentina have reshaped themselves into a narrow 4-4-2 diamond, abandoning the wide areas almost entirely to flood the center of the pitch with 6 players, all orbiting Messi, all hunting quick combinations through the middle. When it works, it is hypnotic, but it comes at a price. This Argentina is defensively porous, surviving on last-ditch tackles and the brilliance of individuals rather than the structure that suffocated opponents in Qatar. Every knockout opponent has found chances against them. None have found enough. England are built to attack exactly that weakness. Their midfield of Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson, and Bellingham has physically overwhelmed every engine room it has faced, and Tuchel's fullbacks tuck inside to match Argentina's central numbers. Add Rice's elite set-piece delivery, Kane's finishing, and a defense that has learned to suffer, and you have a team designed not to outplay champions, but to outlast them. The entire semi-final reduces to one brutal equation. Can England's legs break Argentina's heart before Messi finds the one moment he needs? And beneath the tactics lies the history, because no fixture in international football carries baggage like this one. In 1966, Argentina's captain Antonio Ratin was sent off at Wembley, and Alf Ramsey called the Argentines animals, an insult never forgotten in Buenos Aires. In 1986 came Maradona's 2 goals, the sin and the miracle in the same afternoon, 4 years after the Falklands War had given the fixture a weight no football match should have to carry. In 1998, an 18-year-old Michael Owen scored one of the great World Cup solo goals. David Beckham was sent off for a flick of his boot, and England lost on penalties. In 2002, Beckham buried his redemption penalty in Sapporo. And then, silence. The 2 nations have not met at a World Cup since, the rivalry frozen mid-sentence for more than 2 decades. In Atlanta, the sentence gets finished. The stakes could not be more perfectly constructed. Argentina are chasing something almost extinct. No nation has won back-to-back World Cups since Brazil in 1962, and only Brazil and Italy have ever done it at all. Victory here puts the champions 90 minutes from joining the most exclusive club in sport. England are chasing something even heavier. They have not reached a World Cup final since 1966, the year they won their only title. 60 years of near misses, penalty heartbreaks, and golden generations that turned to dust. Kane, Bellingham, and Tuchel stand 1 win from ending the longest wait in the modern game, with France or Spain waiting at MetLife Stadium. So strip everything away. A 39-year-old legend playing the rival he has somehow never faced, chasing an ending too perfect to say out loud. A 23-year-old Englishman scoring like Maradona in the tournament where Maradona's shadow looms largest. A stadium in Atlanta where Argentina already rose from the dead once this summer. 2 nations bound together by a punch, a run, a red card, and 40 years of unfinished business. Whatever happens in this semifinal, it will not simply decide a finalist. It will define how 2 footballing generations are remembered. If Argentina win, Messi moves 1 match from an ending no writer would dare invent. If England win, 60 years of hurt come down to a single Sunday in New Jersey. The Hand of God started this story in 1986. In Atlanta, 4 decades later, football finally gets to write what comes next. And nobody on either side will be able to look away.